Hey guys, welcome back to Real Talk with Renisha. Today I have a very special and amazing guest. We're going to talk to Miss Antonia Redwine, and she hails all the way from Texas. Antonia is an entrepreneur, she's a writer, and a pleasure coach. Welcome to the show, Antonia.
Thank you. Thank you for having me here. I am very excited to be here and just honored to be a guest on your show as you are journeying into this adventure you're on. Thank you.
Thank you so much. The pleasure is all
Mm.
mine. So, in our
Mm.
pre-interview, when I heard that Antonia was a pleasure coach, I had to get her on the show because, of course, inquiry minds want to know, and I definitely want to know. And I know some of my guests want to know as well. So, with that said, Antonia, my very first question to you is, what is a pleasure coach? What does it actually
Well,
entail?
okay. I would like to know, what does pleasure mean to you? We'll start with that.
And I thought I was the one who's going to be asking all the questions here. Okay, cool. Pleasure for me means doing the things that I enjoy, doing the things
Uh-huh.
that I love. And, I'm a very simple lady. It can be having an amazing dinner or
Mm.
sightseeing on a trip. It could be something very, very simple. I don't like to sweat the small stuff, so I keep it simple. But to me, pleasure is anything that brings me joy.
Oh, that is wonderful. I love hearing that. So often people ask me, what is a pleasure coach? I mean, what do you do? And when I ask them what's pleasure, they don't know. They don't know what brings them pleasure. And that's what I'm here for, to help you tap into what brings you pleasure. And I like that you mentioned eating, like having a meal, because pleasure for me includes the senses, smell and taste, all of that introduces pleasure. And so that's really what I'm here for, to help you tap into that and figure it out. Yeah, that's what I like doing.
Awesome. I never looked at it from a pleasure perspective, right? I always thought, well, yeah, I love fine dining. I love good food. I like to taste different cultures and textures, sauces, et cetera, et cetera.
Mm.
But never really thought about it from the perspective of my taste buds, per se, you know? I enjoy it, but I guess I just enjoy the entire ambiance, the entire experience of it. But when you said your taste buds, senses, it's all of it that brings us pleasure.
It is, and it slows you down when you are in pleasure. You slow down because it feels so good. You want more of it. You want to feel it and taste it and hold on to it and smell it. It's like when you're walking on a path and you see a flower and you go and smell it and you're just like, and that's what I want to do for others. And I also notice when I ask people what pleasure means to them, and there's definitely what men respond to pleasure is and what women respond to what pleasure means to them.
Mm.
And women, they are always, they tend to be pleasures about taking care of someone, doing something for someone else, where men respond to themselves, to what sex is. And women, I think in the 45 or 50 women I've just asked what pleasure means, I've only had one woman say sex or in the bedroom. Women aren't thinking about themselves. And I want us all to think about ourselves in terms of pleasure. And I think what got me excited about doing this, I I look at my brothers and they just work and they just do their thing and they don't know what pleasure is. So outside of sex, they don't know what pleasure is, and I want, and even in sex, I'm not even sure it's about pleasure. It's kind of like a means to an end. But
Wow,
just slowing down and being with that is really, I feel, important and necessary for all of us.
it's so interesting. The difference between what men think pleasure is and what women, that's so
Yeah,
interesting. Wow. Because women, we're just natural nurturers.
we
So we
we
have
are.
this. So we have the kids, we have the family. Most moms are not thinking about themselves. They think about everything else, everyone else. but themselves. And just getting a mom to slow down and think about herself and do things for herself. I hear when I feel guilty.
Oh, absolutely. Then I'm here to give you permission to be able to not feel guilty, to feel full of pleasure, to ride that wave of, of pleasure. And I believe that taking care of yourself in pleasure, it expands your world and you're better able to help those around you. You serve better when you serve yourself.
Absolutely. Well, we're talking about pleasure, and I think for me, one of my questions here to all of my guests is, what does self-care look like, right? So I feel like the
Oh, yeah.
words can be used as synonyms because it's like you said, how do you take care of you? What do you do for
Yeah.
you? And most people are like, nothing.
Yeah. Yeah. They kind of freeze. Even when people ask me, well, what is that? It's almost like an attack. Like, what is that? Why would you say that? Pleasure. Nobody needs that. Nobody wants that. And then they look at themselves and they're like, oh, I don't have it. I don't have it. And it's a real awakening moment when they look around and they're like, I don't have it. That's what's missing. It's what I need. Yeah, pleasure.
It's to hear because I mean, even with my clients, I mean, I talk about this stuff all the time. What are you doing for you? And to think that people don't think that you need that, it's like shocking to me almost. We need that. We need to be pampered. We need to take care of ourselves. We need to do things that are pleasurable. Why do we feel like we don't need that? Where does that come
Yeah.
from? Where does that stem from? Interesting.
Well, I'm gonna say I what even brought me to all of this is
Yes.
like growing up. I grew up in the projects. I was raised in the projects by my great grandmother, and I can remember as a kid, we would go to the grocery store, and there was this wall of toys. It was like Disneyland on the wall right there, and I was a kid, and I wouldn't allow myself to look at that wall because I knew that wasn't available to me. I knew that I could not have anything on that wall, so don't even look at that. And I just kind of move through life with these blinders on and not thinking about even fun. Playing wasn't available to me, just to go outside and play. My teachers would say Antonia would be a much better student if she played less and studied more. Because when I got to school, I would play because I thought I had the freedom. I really didn't, but I thought I had the freedom to play because I couldn't play at home. And so I just was moving through life with these blinders, no pleasure, no play, which meant no passion either. And I just started thinking like, I need different. I need different in my life. I want more. I'm going to say I always knew there was more available. I
Yes.
just didn't know where or how to get at it. And then I started with therapy for myself, and I've had coaches myself. And then it just started to open up for me. And I thought, this is what I want other people to have access to. I want them to tap into what is truly available and give them permission. That's that's really what I'm about. Like in the space with me, you have permission to take care of yourself and your needs and figure out what your needs are.
It's amazing that we have to give adults permission to have pleasure and permission to play and permission to enjoy life.
Yeah.
Just seems
Yeah.
a strange phenomenon. I think my last guest and I was talking about, parents are okay with parenting their kids, but they don't apply that same parenting to themselves. They don't say, oh, go take a
Exactly.
nap for an hour to rejuvenate. You need a nap. You're hyperventilating. Don't do that for ourselves, but we have no problem telling the kids to do that. So that's interesting that you said that. Right?
Oh, that is very true. And I think about kids. and this is something that I carry with me and I pass on to my clients, is that when you're on the playground, everything is possible. Everything is possible. You just watch kids, and like there's nothing like going to the playground and watching kids, and they're in their fantasy world, and they some of them are directing others, and some are like, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do this, and they're just out there playing. Everything is possible on the playground.
That is
Yeah.
so true. Went a little bit ahead. So yeah, talking about going back to talking about
Yeah.
how you grew up in the projects on welfare. My question to you is, how has that experience shaped you into who you are today as a person?
I
Because we learn
feel
every
like,
stage, right?
yes, being in the projects, there's such definitely diversity there. And even though we're all in the projects, there's still this, some people are in the projects and they're just poor and that's where they are. Some people are in the projects and they're middle income, just middle class. And then there are some people who are in the projects and they're on their way out. And
Okay.
so it allowed me to see, first of all, we're all the same, but
Yes.
then that diversity of some people are just ready to move on. They know they can move on, and some don't. So I feel like I certainly was a person who thought I wasn't ever going to leave the projects. I thought I was raised by my great grandmother, and I definitely wanted my own place. And I thought I would move next door to her because I wanted to live next door to her and take care of her. That's what I thought. It wasn't the thought, certainly as a kid, wasn't available to me that I could take care of her outside of the projects. Until it wasn't until I remember my second grade teacher invited me over to her house, and I saw like what's it like to have a house and a car and be able to get around not on the bus. And I
Yes.
started thinking like there's more available to me. And then once I got out in the world and just saw so much more that is available, I also never forgot where I came from. And so I may meet some people in my life now, and they may be super rich, and I can have a conversation with them. And they may be super poor, and I can have a conversation with them. So I feel growing up in the projects has made me relatable. And yeah, I just never forgotten what that's like.
It's awesome. Because I know some people are in a
Yeah.
hurry to let go of that past, because
Yeah.
it can be such a traumatic event depending on their personal experience. They're ready to just let go of that. But you're saying,
Right.
even in all of it, and we all know, every struggle that you had, but even in all of it,
Yeah.
it was still a learning moment for you. It still helped shape who
Exactly.
you are today. So
Yes.
being in a hurry to let go of it is one thing, but we have to remember that in those formative years, you were being shaped, you were being molded for who you are today. Of course, we don't know that in that particular time of our life,
Right.
but had you not experienced life in that way, you'd be a completely different person today.
That
Very
is for
different thing to
sure.
say. Yeah, but not forgetting where you came from.
And
Very
it would be harder for me to, I feel, understand and empathize with others. That's part of what makes me a great coach is because I have such a diverse background, and I know what it's like to not have money to pay the bills or be worried about your lights being turned off. I think it just makes you a greater leader all around.
because you have this training of, I can
Mhm.
but survive anywhere. The lights turn off, I know what to do. I'm going to be okay. If my water goes, I know exactly how to maneuver to be able to be okay. So it does, again, it does instill so
Yeah,
much in you, in us, because of
it
our
does.
formative years.
Yeah. And you mentioned about like her being in a hurry to move away from that. I think also what comes up is it's such a stigma. It's a stigma to be in the projects. It's a stigma to be poor. That stigma means you're less than.
Yes, it often
Yeah.
does. It
It
often
often does.
does. Yes.
Yeah.
And again, that's probably a really good reason why some people would be embarrassed to talk about it
Yeah.
and mention it, or just want to completely forget about it. as their
Hmm.
adults, because it is
Yeah.
it's a stigma. It's almost like the mental health stigma that I'm trying to break. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, right? That this is real life. People are going to be depressed. People are going to be anxious. People are going to have diagnosis. That's just the way it is. But it's not something
Mm.
that we should shy away from anymore. You know,
Yes.
so baby
Yes.
steps on that. Baby steps on that.
Well, I'm really glad you're doing that just to show that it's available. It's available to all races. It's available to all sexes. It is available that you don't have to do this alone in the dark by yourself. You don't have to.
Not anymore. Not anymore. We are out there
Yeah.
every day, virtually in office, dual.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
come look
Yes.
for us. Okay, so going back to your bio, you talked about having some really great top-notch coaching experiences. And I always like to speak with anyone who is invested in themselves or who has invested in themselves. That is so important. So it goes back to, again, a pleasure, right? And investing in ourselves. That can be pleasurable depending on what angle you look at it from. So tell us a little bit about how these coaching has helped you over the years.
Well, I'm happy that you started out with investing in yourself.
Okay.
Because people don't see that as an investment in themselves, and you see it as, well, I'm broken and I have to get fixed. And I say it definitely has helped me understand who I am, and really accept and incorporate who I am. I first worked with a therapist just for myself to understand who I am. And I would say that was definitely the beginning of giving myself permission to have joy and pleasure and wonderfulness, and also permission to be messy and insecure, all of that, and to kind of keep that on board. Like, I don't have to get rid of that. Keep it on board. So that was my first foray into getting into investing in myself. And then at coaching, I've had coaches that help me with the business part, and then just ways of helping me coach. As a matter of fact, I met with my coach this morning, and as a result of meeting with him, I I'm going to add inner pleasure coach, because it's the inner journey. It's the inner part of what I'm getting to, and what I am awakening. So I still learn and grow as a result of working with a coach.
Wonderful. And I'm glad you pointed out, Antonia, that most people don't see it as being an investment. We see investment as, of course, buying a house. Of course, there's certain things, clearly it is. But again, we forget about ourselves. We always
Mhm.
forget about ourselves. And with my last guest, who was also a therapist, we couldn't stop talking about what a hidden gem therapy is. People have no idea. Therapy is amazing. Hello, amazing. And people don't understand it's an investment in yourself. I was giving myself permission to have peace, to have joy, to work out issues, past issues, to work on trauma, to work on future things that I don't even know that's coming up in my life, creating boundaries, holding space. It's such a
Mm.
powerful, powerful, powerful tool.
It
And
really
oh,
is. Oh my gosh. And so many times when you're talking, you're talking to yourself, you're in your head and you're trying to work it out. Don't go in there. Don't go in there alone. That is not the place to be. But with therapy and coaching, to be able to say it out loud and to have it reflected back to you, because when it's reflected back to you, you finally hear yourself. You hear yourself and you see yourself, and you get to go, okay, I'm okay, but I hear that, but what can I do over here? What can I do over there? And that opening up, and that facing that trauma so that it's not holding you down and holding you back anymore, and setting boundaries like, okay, we're not going to do this anymore, because the boundaries are for you, to care for you, It's not for them or to keep them out. It's for you.
Yes, preach. Yes. And it all goes back to investing in yourself and seeing the importance of that. We don't see ourselves of being of that value to pour that stuff into. But I always say, if we're not good for ourselves, who can we be good for?
Oh my gosh, that is so true. In value, I feel like I've had the pleasure of listening to a couple of episodes, and the running theme is value. Whether you're talking about finances, I recently watched. It was about valuing yourself, and the gentleman who's yoga, valuing yourself, pleasure, valuing yourself. It's all about valuing yourself, which is empowering yourself, giving you that power and that passion and that play, all of it, value. Yeah.
I feel like, and this is speak from my own personal perspective, that
Yeah.
growing up, I just wasn't told that. I know there were some amazing households where parents and kids actually had great conversations, and kids knew that they were special and they were loved and all the great things that should come with having a family. But most of us did not grow up hearing that stuff. So we just never saw ourselves as being valuable. Never was special. Just work hard, make money, get a good job. That was it. And what did we do? We worked hard like crazy. We worked hard.
Absolutely.
We thought that's where the value was. It wasn't in us. And now we're hearing this whole table has been spun around. And we're like, no,
Yeah,
the value is in yourself.
exactly.
It's a whole mind shift right now. Totally a
Oh
whole shift
my
right now.
God.
Yes, yes.
I
love
feel
it.
like for me and my family, I don't even think that was available. I don't know that it was available to my parents, to my grandparents, to my great grandmother who raised me. I don't even think that was available to her. Value was, like you said, you're going to work hard, you're going to get a good job, and that's what you're going to do. That's what strength is. And I actually thought about this today in one of my writings, what strength is. And for me, my definition of strength was modeled by my great grandmother, that you go to work and you make ends meet and you don't complain and you just hold it together and you keep going. That's what strength, and you don't cry. Somehow or another, you don't cry was very important. I don't know why. And I'm like, cry all you want.
All
Let it
day.
out.
But that made sense for that generation. It makes so much
Yes.
sense because that's what was instilled in us. So like we said, we're talking about investing in ourselves and seeing value in ourselves and taking care of ourselves. That was a no-no. It was a huge no-no growing up. Oh no. Oh, you do not
Yeah.
talk about yourself in any kind of light manner. You just don't do that. You're conceited. How dare you?
Oh, absolutely, right. You're selfish. There's something wrong with you. You're just thinking about yourself and you don't think about others. You got to give it away. You got to give it all away and take care of everybody else, because if you take care of them, somehow or another, that makes you valuable.
And that is what we were instilled into. So no wonder people are having a difficult time accepting this new concept. It's not new, but it's like the mindset has to change because I have to value myself. It's important for me to be able to take care of anybody else. I gotta take care of myself first. And then I'm strong to take care of the whole clan if necessary.
If necessary, that's right.
It starts with us.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, did you ever envision that you would want to be a coach and role model to others?
No, I did not. I never thought of it. However, when I think back on my life, I've always been a coach. My mom shared a story with me. I was probably 15 or 16, and she was dating a guy. And I said, oh, he likes you and he's nice, but you'll never be first in his life. And I had that insight at 15 or 16. And I forgot that I even told her this story. So because years later she tells me this, and I was like, for such a young girl who hadn't even began my dating life and also had a jaded view of what relationships were, because I did grow up thinking like you got to take care of the man, it's all about the man. But even in that mindset, I could see that she would not be number one for him. So I've always been a coach, I just didn't know it.
Great insight. That's amazing. You saw something that
Yeah.
he was doing or not doing, and you're like,
Mm, I don't
wow,
know about that. Yeah.
amazing. So what are some of the hardest things that you have had to give yourself permission to do?
Number one, permission to just really trust myself is the hardest thing that
Wow.
I have had to overcome and incorporate. Trusting myself, trusting my voice, putting my voice out there, and knowing that it's going to be okay has been the toughest thing for me, because
Wow.
I was just always raised to be quiet, to be like seen but not seen. You have nothing to say, you don't have an opinion, just do what you're told. And that's what made me a good girl, by doing what I was told. um, so there is no questioning like, why are we doing this, why is this happening? It was just shh. So I it took a lot for me to just be able to trust any thought, that inner voice. Trust it, because it's never wrong. You're how
Right.
how often is your instinct wrong? Not.
Really, really. And I tell my clients all the time, women have amazing intuition. We just
Feel
have
into
to
that.
learn to trust it. But I know, just like shoo it away and then we get in
Yes.
trouble. But we have
Yes.
amazing, amazing intuition. From my island, my culture,
Yeah.
it's children are seen and not heard.
Same here.
Zip it up in public. Seen and not heard.
Yeah.
That's what we were
That's right.
taught growing up.
That's
Yeah.
right. That's right. You better not misbehave or look or do something or dance. You come here, you sit down, you be quiet. And grown folks are talking. That was a big one. Grown folks are talking here. And I could remember it, it was great because even though I have 6, 7, 8 brothers and sisters, I was raised as an only child because I was raised with my great grandmother. So I was around adults all the time. And I remember as I got older, I was just taking it all in, and they would talk, and I was like, look at each person. I would listen, and I was taking it in. And my great grandmother noticed. She's like, "This is grown folks' conversation. You leave the room." And she would have me leave the room, but I was just trying to like absorb it all because they were talking big words and life and stuff, and I was so drawn to that I was just like hanging on there every word. She's like, "No, no, no, you get out of here. You what? You're looking seen. I'm seeing you. You got to go." Yeah, no.
Laughing because that resonates so much with me. Yes, it's so true. You're mesmerized by them or what they're talking about. You really are.
Yes,
Those moments.
yes, yes. And I'm sure as kids, we're just filing it all away. We're filing it. We're just categorizing it and learning a new vocabulary and how things go together. Yeah.
And somewhere later on down the road, it all makes sense.
Yes.
So let me ask you, have you had any regrets along the way?
Oh, definitely. At the moment, I can't think of the exact regret, but I've definitely had regrets, and just mainly from not listening to myself and
Okay.
and feeling that you know it's not right because your body aches. Your body tells you this isn't right. When you are constricted with your breathing, when you are just heavy, you're just, the weight is on you, you know, okay, you need to be listening or doing or I guess adjusting. So I have learned from the regrets that I have in my life. I have definitely learned from them, every single one of them.
Very good. And you're right. The body does know. We know. We know.
We know.
We keep moving, but we know we messed up. We know what we should have done and we didn't do because we didn't trust our instincts. We know.
Yes.
We know.
Yes.
In your bio, Antonia, you mentioned that you are in a place of self-sufficiency, actively creating your life. Tell us more about living with an abundance mindset.
Oh, just believing that I can have more, and it's not more greedy, more more for the sake of having out of scarcity, but that whole fulfillment, that whole feeling of fullness, of I just breath. I could just take a breath. And I think before I too was like my great grandmother and not allowing myself to breathe, which cut me off from my lifeline. I,
Yes.
I think that's what it is. And now it's back to giving myself permission to be to be okay and to really step out and be an entrepreneur, to step away from the day-to-day job, the safety of a job that has served me well, but it's now time to substitute that, to make a substitution. So, and knowing that I got this, I can do this. Let's go. Let's just give it a try. Let's see what happens. See.
Beautiful. But it goes back to something that you said earlier, is trusting in yourself. Literally
Yeah.
trusting in yourself and knowing that you got this. Or another word would be taking that leap of faith.
Yeah. Yes. Because you, mm, I think all the times I have hesitated and taking a leap of faith, it's always been because I think I'll die. I think I'm up on this cliff, and if I jump, I will just die. But you never do. You never hit the bottom. You fly, you may just go down, you may land on a ledge. You just,
Yes.
when you get out there, you see other possibilities.
Yes. But I always say, because I never want to live with regrets either. So I would rather take the leap
Mm,
of faith, try something new, that not done, not try it at all, and then sit in the what ifs. What if I had done this? What if I had tried this? Who knows with my life? But we go into that hole, the what if hole, right?
yes.
So I've
Yes.
always been the kind of person where it's like, I don't know if this is going to work, but I'm going to try. Because I'd rather have that feeling in my head that I tried and I failed than never trying at all and then sitting in that hole of regret and feeling like, oh, I
Absolutely.
don't know if I had done this, it would have made. I hate that feeling. I absolutely hate that feeling.
Mm, I understand that. Yes, yes, I'm with you on that. And that whole, first of all, you don't fail, you learn. You learn something new, and you step out and you think you're going to go this way, and you step out there and you try and you end up going that way. You don't know what's out there until you step out. So you never fail, you learn. Some sometimes we learn really valuable, very expensive lessons. Certainly when I started learning about coaching and wanting to work with a coach, and I had heard something about this particular coach, and I thought, oh, I'll try this. And then I got into the program, and even the first meeting, I go, oh, this is not for me. I had messed up, and it was a $7,000 investment. $7,000. But I learned the next time, one, is there a refund available? Two, find out some more, do a little bit more research and see if this is for you. On the surface, it was good. First meeting, I was like, I'm out. Yeah.
Yeah. I love the fact that you said you learn. We learn.
Learn.
Because I always say to my
Learn.
clients, if we never make mistakes in life, if we do everything right and perfect, there's nothing to learn.
Oh,
There's nothing to learn. Life is boring. There's nothing to learn. So you gotta make mistakes.
yes.
You gotta do things the wrong way. So to do it the right way the next time. And you learn the lesson that you learn is so valuable. It is so valuable. Listen, you have to learn these lessons in life. So I love what you said, you learn.
You learn about yourself too, because you're right. When you're going along and everything is good, like if you've had a job and you have this job and you do the job all the time and it's just the same job all the time after time, you don't learn anything. But if something new comes up or there's a crisis or a challenge and you fail, you learn. You learn about who you are. You learn about different ways to think and maneuver that you didn't have available to you before because it's so mundane.
We learn how to navigate life. We're talking about this journey here. This is a journey of life, and we
Yes,
have to learn
it
how to
is.
navigate this.
Oh,
And
yeah.
part of the learning is making mistakes, doing
Hmm.
wrong things. It's not knowing and messing up. It's part of the journey, though. I love it.
Right. How many inventors have we heard of who start out doing one thing and then they come up with something that's even greater than what they even imagined or what they were going toward? They invent these great things because they made a mistake or they thought this test failed and it didn't fail. It gave greater results. Hmm.
So mistakes are inevitable, but they're part of the journey and the learning
They
process.
are. They
We'll,
are.
we'll, we'll put it there, right?
Yes, yes.
Antonia, what do you like most about being a pleasure coach?
Oh,
Brings you the most enjoyment.
I think being able to sit down and hold space for someone, I call it a sanctuary for your soul. That's exactly what I create. The sanctuary for your soul, for you to come in and just really let go, like let down all of these supposed tos, have tos, got tos. And with me, you get to. And to be able, what brings me the greatest joy is when I see my clients, they have an aha moment. Like they hear what they've said and they're like, oh, I see, or I know where this comes from, or I can do this. And for that to be a springboard into the next phase or the next step, that's what brings me joy. Yeah.
Say, no, do you have clients who also with suffer from like anxiety or depression? Because it sounds like as if you're doing some kind of therapy in those moments as well.
Um, they don't come to me with that. They don't think that they are, but certainly there's a low lying underlying feeling of that it may be starting to build. It may be at the beginning stages, and that's starting to build. Yeah.
I use the word anxiety and people come in there, they're sad, they're down,
Yes.
they're sad, right? It's a symptom of
Mm-hmm.
depression, right? It's not
Mm-hmm.
full blown, but keeping that sad space for too long, yeah, it can lead to depression. So they're coming in with those minimal symptoms, and then they sit in the sanctuary and they learn. And I love the aha moments. Oh gosh, I love those. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
It does. I
Yeah.
love those aha moments because they can see it now. It makes sense to them now. Oh,
Right.
and they're on
Yeah.
their way to bigger, better, brighter, joy, happy. Oh, all the amazing
Yes.
things that's here for us to enjoy. A lot of us
Oh,
again, don't give ourselves permission to do so.
exactly. Yes, yes. And that's the thing. Thank you for mentioning that depression, because you hear the word depression and you just see someone heavy in bed and can't get out of bed and can't eat, way on the deep side of it, but it is sadness. It is the those beginnings of what depression is. So you think you don't have to, you're like, oh, I'm just sad. I don't know why. I'm just a little bit unhappy. Oh, I'm a little under the weather, whatever it may be. And you don't realize that, yes, that is a sign of depression.
Anything left untreated for too long gets worse. You know,
Yeah.
and eventually it can lead to a nervous breakdown, can lead to depression eventually if we're feeling that way
Hmm.
for too long, that space.
Yes.
My favorite question: what does self-care look like to you, Miss Antonia?
Oh, well, it's many things for me. One thing I do enjoy is being out in nature and just taking a walk. And I don't have to go to the woods or the forest or anything. I can just take a walk in my neighborhood and just like take it all in, and to include the bugs because we live here in Texas. So we have different kinds of bugs, but even to see them and go, hey, who are you? What's this guy about? What are you about? And that's one thing. And then in my backyard, I never thought that I would be this person, but in our backyard, it's all natural. And I have a bird feeder out there. And so I put two different kinds of seeds out there and I get all kinds of birds who come in and I have water. And so it's like an aquarium. It's so peaceful for me to just sit out and look in the backyard and watch the birds come in and out. Never thought I'd be that person, but I so am. And I love that. And sometimes self care is just on the couch with my pillow and blanket watching TV. Very simple. I like you, very simple, simple needs, simple, just simple desires. It doesn't have to be a whole lot. Sometimes a whole lot is too much and just quiet. Yeah.
I love the simple,
My
the
God.
simple
Yeah.
things in life that brings us joy. I always say the best things in life is free. We don't have to go out and purchase it. It's
For
free.
sure.
I love it. It's free.
Yeah.
It is huge. If it is, that's fine. But nature is always there for us. Always,
Mhm.
always there for us.
Yes. And
Something about that, about going in. Listen, to me, just going outside and having the sun hit my skin, my face, I just feel so good. Because I'm in this apartment
yes.
all the time. I'm working all the time. Just going out and enjoying the sun. Sun. Doesn't get much simple
Oh,
like that. Feels good.
I really agree. And being out and seeing the trees and nature, like for us, when we look at nature, everything's perfect. We don't, even though there's a knot on the tree, we're like, oh, how beautiful. Look how beautiful the branch goes this way and it's twisted. And nature reminds me that nature isn't like, oh, should I get this removed because this bump is too big? Is this right? Oh, this isn't enough. Nature is just like growing and flourishing. And it just, that's what it leaves me with. Yeah.
Oh, I bend, it doesn't matter because I'm going to bend into something pretty anyway.
Yes, exactly, exactly. They're not like, oh, am I too old now? I'm getting old. I'm looking. The trees are. I love trees. Trees are just out here blooming and blossoming and growing and bending and reaching.
Wow.
However they may.
Simple, beautiful. Well, all God's creation. It's created that for us to enjoy again.
Yeah. Mm.
We are wrapping this conversation up, and I hate to get to this point because this has been so amazing. This has been so
This is
right.
delicious.
It's
Oh, I have loved it. I definitely has. Thank you. Thank you for inviting me. Oh, I
awesome.
feel really good.
So
Yeah.
I am so happy that you said yes. I am so happy that you came here and gave us again this amazing insight. You know, again, I have someone else saying, yes, you have permission to enjoy your life and take care of
Mhm.
yourself. You know, is there
Mhm.
anything else that you would like to leave our viewers with?
Yes, I am currently listening to Higher is Waiting by Tyler Perry.
Okay.
And I heard this yesterday and I had to replay it back. So the first thing that got my attention, he says, our work is to get to the place where we are all worthy despite our histories. And I was like, hey. And
Yes.
then this is really what brought it home for me. When you know your worth, when you know your value, your life changes and you change lives. And that's what I'm here to do,
Oh, I
help
love.
you change your life.
Wow, I love it. Oh my gosh, we just gotta know who we are. We gotta know our worth. We gotta know our value. It starts with us. It starts in here. That is, oh wow, beautiful. Well said. And it
Mm,
does change you. It changes you, and you want to spread it because you want it to be contagious.
exactly. I've noticed that that's what you're doing, and that all your guests are out in this world changing, inviting people in, saying, take a look at this, take a look at yoga, take a look at finance, hang out here with you and just because we feel good and we want everyone else to feel good. It's a ripple effect.
And I tell people all the time, yes, when you know what you're worth and you know the value that you have, you said, and you trust your instinct, you trust yourself, you want to give back because it's not just about you anymore. You're talking about giving ourselves pleasure and the permission. But after you've
Oh,
got into a certain level and you've reached the
yes.
goals, you want other people to have it because it's so beautiful. You want to give it to yourself. Share this. You can do this too. Absolutely.
Exactly. And we didn't even get into the part of self pleasure in terms of sexuality, but even there, it starts there, being able to pleasure yourself. So the next time we talk, we'll talk about that as well. We'll
Ooh,
include that.
there's going to be a part two, listeners. The other part of the pleasure coach.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh,
Exactly.
Antonia, this has been such an amazing, amazing conversation. Wow. Thank you
Oh, thank
so
you.
much for taking the time to come on out here and just give us this insight and this additional knowledge because knowledge is power. So the more knowledge we get,
Yeah.
the better off we can be. I just thank you again for taking the time.
Thank you. Thank you.
You are so welcome, guys. We are going to wrap up. As always, thank you for listening. If you haven't already, hit the subscribe button. Please subscribe and like this channel so we can have more of this seen by so many other people. Thanks again for watching, and I will see you guys in the next episode. Have an amazing day.